Hi. So we're
Hello.
back. This is episode 3 of the Reasonable and Rational podcast. Episode, you can see that right below Rob's finger pointing. Episode 1, we had Chris Shanahan. So episode 2, we had Key Perry. Two opposite ends of the spectrum in a lot of ways, and kind of interesting. Tonight we did have a guest.
Yet I think they were closer than
some may think in a lot of ways, but it was all good. Bottom line, we get some good comments and such, and some views, and we're building a program here. So we had a guest scheduled for tonight. He didn't make it, unfortunately. I haven't heard why yet. Maybe he's with he's on the Tuukka Rask bandwagon. I don't know.
it happens.
But maybe we'll get him another week. Be a good one. But
Maybe he's behind the brick wall. He just can't get through.
When we mention good ones, you can't really get better than the producer of a show. And in this case, we have Rob Fay. Rob Fay is the producer of this show, among many other programs on the Litchfield Community Television Broadcast Network. I don't even know if I can call it that, but I did. But
Makes it sound bigger, so I like it. I like it a lot.
Rob has given a lot of input in the last 2 shows from behind the camera. Today, he'll be doing it on camera. One of the topics I wanted to start off with was because a lot is going on in this world, and it's hard to really talk about anything social media wise without somebody getting offended. It's almost impossible. Any post out there, you have 2 sides, automatically have 2 sides to it, and then the people that have one side get mad at the other people on the other side. There's nothing reasonable or rational about it.
Right.
I know Rob.
When someone tries to come in and be the peacekeeper, both sides attack
both sides
them.
get mad at them. It's it's funny. It gets funny, but it gets boring after a while because it's almost the same thread on everybody's page, no matter what it is. You say anything about a mask, you say anything about lives, whether they matter, or anything that has anything to do with any current topic, you have immediately 2 sides. So I know Rob has some good opinions. He's got strong opinions, and Rob does back them up with facts. And I appreciate that. I may not agree with all of his. I may not agree with everything. A lot of people may not agree with everything, but Rob does back his thoughts up with information that's out there. He's not making anything up, and that's why he's great for the show. I think I'm just going to go ahead and because Rob's got some things he wants to say. I'm going to start it by saying that one of the posts I read this week was on Facebook, and it was just somebody saying basically that everything bad that has happened recently is Trump's fault. What do you think about that?
I see that a lot. I'm no Trump fan. That is, anybody who knows me knows that. Going back before he's even pretended to be a Republican or whatever he thinks he is now, or back when he was a Democrat or whatever he was pretending to be then. Not a fan. But because I'm not a fan, I have a lot of Facebook groups that I follow just so I can get my daily affirmation of people shitting all over him, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But that's part of the problem. When you have a blanket statements about things are usually 100% false and do nothing but start trouble and create a false narrative. And if you want to bitch about these so-called Russian bots all over the world that are promoting Trump with bullshit memes, you're doing the same thing, but the other way around. And once you blanket statement something, you lose all credibility in my view. So
there is no one. There can't ever be just one side to anything, and there has to be. So one of the things that we talk about America being great, or our Constitution allowing liberties and so on and so forth. If you are adamant about one way or another, then you're completely against the Constitution anyway. You have to have the ability to have communication and debate and not turn a debate into a fight. You have to be able to do that. You have to be able to have a conversation. Most people that debate with me probably say I'm not good at that. they probably say that I'm terrible at that. That I only like my way, and it is what it is. But I don't think so. I'm usually right. So, just kidding. So there was a post that went out the other day, and a very respected former teacher at the Londonderry High School, and it was
Oh boy.
yeah,
Oh boy.
it's back when I was in school, and it was kind of interesting because he's basically kind of fed up. I'm gonna read it because I had to respond to him. One of the most respected people I know. Okay, I'm not gonna mention his name just in case he doesn't want it out there, but he did put it on social media. So Dr. Joel Jenny, here it is.
Dr. Joe.
Dr. Joel. Joel Jenny, one of the best
Billy
teachers Londonderry High School ever
Billy
had.
Joel.
As most of you know, I don't post often on Facebook. On November 3rd, 2018, I posted that I haven't been as concerned about the future of our country since the 60s. I now know that was a gross understatement. The events of the last couple of years, and especially the last few days, has raised that concern exponentially. The blatant racism of the once again birthism movement, the dismantling of our post office, which was created by the Constitution as a public good, the attempts to misinform and suppress the vote, coupled with the gross mismanagement of the pandemic, are just a sampling of my concerns. As I approach the age of 70, I can't help but wonder what the future holds for my grandchildren, my nieces, and my nephews, and the families of the many students I had the honor of teaching over the years. I hope that this is an aberration soon to be overcome and not a glimpse of what the future holds. I wake up mornings and go to bed at night fearful and with tears in my eyes. I hope I live long enough to see a day when I no longer have to weep for the country I love and has given me so much. It is up to us to preserve our democracy so that future generations can enjoy what we are allowing to slip away. Please get involved and stay involved. Joel, before I tell you what I think, what my response was, how would you have written something back to that? You would have hit like, most likely, and you would have had a comment.
I would have liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you say?
Well, I would have liked it because it's, especially on, is it his thread, or did he have it on some other? Did he put it on his own page?
Just on his own page, yeah. He just posted it for people. He's got a lot of followers, a lot of old, former students.
Well, I mean, that's the way he feels. I mean, that teachers are normally pretty liberal group of people. So he probably wasn't a fan of the Republicans, regardless who they would have elected for president. It's kind of the same, the gross mismanagement of the virus, which is a narrative that can be argued, and the racial divide in the country, which people say, well, Obama started that, and I don't understand where that came from, other than the fact that he was black. That's maybe the worst thing he did racially, was to be black. I'll tell you, when I was 2009, 2010, I was right after Obama got elected, I was at the local gas station, and I was gassing up. And there was a local company who has a fleet of trucks. They were congregating around the pumps. Two of them were getting gas, and one of them said to the other one, Jesus Christ, how are we going to get this monkey out of the White House? So that's when I was like, you know what? We really haven't got far in this nation. And this was 2008, 2009. So you go fast forward to where we are now. And I guess the question is Trump a racist? I guess when we come to the racial divide. Is he doing this because he thinks that white is the superior race? I don't think so. I think he's an equal opportunity exploiter. I think that he knows that there's a certain part of his base that thinks that way. So he's not going to come out and damn it. He's not going to come out and say the Proud Boys, Boogaloo, all those other white supremacist alt-right groups are terrorist organizations. He's going to say Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization and Antifa is a terrorist organization, because that's what his base wants him to say, so that's what he'll say.
I want to counter that just for a minute, because I think one of the reasons Trump was elected, and I think there were plenty of the people that you're talking about right now that did vote for him and will vote for him if he continues to along that trend that you're suggesting he goes, that he is going on. I think you did hit the nail on the head. Is that is that he is an equal opportunity exploitist or an equal opportunity. You know, he'll call somebody out for what things are. You know, for what it is. He will speak what's on his mind, clearly to the detriment of himself.
The way he perceives things are.
The way he perceives things, and whether he's right or wrong, it's what he thinks, and that's, you know, nobody can ever say that he's a smart person when he speaks clearly, but I think if he believes that there is a white group out there that is causing harm to the country, then he will call them out and he will exploit them. And I don't know that he's calling Black Lives Matter a terrorist group. Maybe you say
he
that.
has.
I know that he says things and sometimes he doesn't mean them the way he. You know, I'm not defending him. I can't defend him, but I just find it really hard to believe that someone at his stature, I guess, in this country, can actually mean the way things sometimes come out of his mouth. And I really don't believe that he thinks Black Lives Matter is a terrorist group. I think he thinks it's a group that is funded by people who might be involved with things that are against our country. But I don't think I don't think he believes they're a terrorist group in the sense that a terrorist group bombed the 9/11, did 9/11, right? So I don't think, I think that's what happens is somebody says terrorist group, and that's what automatically they think they think it's a group that's going to, kind of kill masses of people.
Well, whether he believes it or not, and I don't know.
He says it, and it's wrong.
He says it because
it's dumb.
He says it because it's what his base wants to hear.
I don't know that he panders.
But if you take out something serious like the race relations in this country is at an all-time low, and we're divided. That's really serious. But when you come to the concept of just saying things that your base wants to hear, that's not new.
But I don't think
everybody
him.
does that.
I don't think that's him. And I think that's one of the reasons he was elected the first time is because he doesn't do that. Now, everybody has an agenda.
You got to be kidding me.
I don't think he does it. Certainly not the way that.
You're going to build a wall. Mexico's going to pay for it.
So do I think he believed that? Yeah, I do think he believed that. But I don't think he did it because Ford Motor Company wanted him to.
He Motor Company didn't want him to.
All right, whoever you're saying that he was saying that for, he didn't do it for them. He did it for.
No, he did it because he started saying it and people loved it and they cheered and clapped and they didn't want.
Well, he likes that.
They didn't want immigrants in this country, so they clapped and they prayed, and he kept saying it.
But that's not pandering to it.
But he knows that as a Republican, he can't say, "I'm going to build this $6 trillion wall." Isn't that awesome? Because Republicans are supposed to be fiscally conservative,
right.
And he doesn't want to say that we're going to pay for this wall. So he's going to say Mexico's going to pay for this wall. Then he say, "Well, it's not going to be a wall. It's going to be some sort of fence." Well, it's not going to. Well, they're not going to pay for it. They're not going to write us a check. We're going to make them pay for it because I'm going to get them over a barrel in NAFTA. Well, that didn't happen either. So, saying things, but he's not the first person to do that. They all say that. Everybody running for president says whatever the hell you want to hear to get elected. He didn't invent that, but he certainly said it. Lock her up. Hillary. First thing I do is kill Obamacare. Not killed. First thing I do is put Hillary in jail. Not in jail. You know.
All right,
they all say those types of things.
I misunderstood your meeting. I thought you meant I thought you meant the things that that most politicians do, which is pander to the people that are funding their projects and essentially spending the money to back them, and he's doing things to make sure other people
on the microphone they're pandering to their base for votes. Behind the scenes, lobbyists, they pander to their lobbyists. That's Trump, that's Pelosi, that's Schumer, that's McConnell, that's all of them. They all you know how it works.
Well, so going back to what Mr. Joel Jenny said, my response to him was, the system is broken. The country is divided. This is not one person's doing. And because I got the sense that this is, as I started reading other people's comments on his post, is that because Trump is the president, this is why all this is happening. All right, listen, this has been trending for years, and you just admitted it. Everybody does what he's doing. He's just worse. But in any case, whoever is president next term is not going to be the cure or the blame until our nation becomes what I put one under God and indivisible, or at least much closer to that than we've been in my kids' lifetimes. I don't think that we've been one country indivisible under God by any means in any time in the last 20 years or more.
No. I think, I mean, I was a practicing Catholic growing up. I don't practice that anymore.
Is that because you like to swear on Sundays?
Do I? So, I wake up Sunday mornings and just let them go, baby. I just stand outside a Chick-fil-A in a hobby town.
Do you protest Chick-fil-A?
Just swear and swear and swear.
Oh boy.
But and it's I mean I believe in God and I believe in religion. Religion is such a subject. I believe in God, and I didn't think we were going to go here.
Do you believe in one God in the Apostolic Church?
I guess that's what they say.
It's one of the things in the beginning of the homilies, yeah.
Yeah. I've been just trying to get my family a few years ago to go to an Episcopal church. Catholic light. Catholic without the guilt. I don't know.
That is a whole other show, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
we'll go there someday.
We grew up Catholic. We were baptized. We had first communions. We were confirmed. And we were married under a Catholic priest. I'm assuming you were too. Yeah. But that just doesn't happen anymore. It's just, and I'll take blame for my family. I was just, I guess I was just too lazy to enforce the kids got to go to catechism, still call it that. We got to send the kids to CDC. We got to send the kids to catechism.
CDC is different
my kids are baptized and my kids are first communion, but that's it. Right. And my oldest doesn't believe in God. My youngest is interested, but my thing on God, and my wife is a believer. She went to Saint. What's that one? She went to PMA
yeah.
The first 3 years. So I think that I believe in God, but I think we all here, and we have to fend for ourselves. I don't think that you pray to God and He's going to do something for you. Like people say all the time, I'll pray for you. Well, in the Bible, it says, sacred is the prayer that asks for nothing. So prayer is supposed to be, paying tribute and thanking God. But it's not supposed to be asking for stuff.
I really want to I don't want to do this on this show because because this is a much deeper conversation, and I do have thoughts on it. Going from Trump to religion is not
well, you said under God, and I agree with you.
And I meant that, and I do mean it for this particular reason, because our country is divided, and I think we need, if we as I started writing that paragraph, I harkened back. Okay, yeah. So this is what we say in the Pledge of Allegiance, and that isn't allowed anymore. One nation under God, indivisible. That's what we're founded upon. This is what we're supposed to be. We are not that, and that's been going on for a long time, and won't. There is no end in sight right now. Now, what frustrates me, and the reason why we have this show, is you have people saying that once Trump is out, everything's better, everything's fixed. That is no way in hell, double hockey sticks, that's going to happen. It's just there is no way. And even my goodness, even the good things that have happened under Trump's administration. Whether it's economical or fiscal or whatever it is, even the people who believe that that the new ticket, Biden and Harris, is going to fix everything that Trump screwed up, we still don't even give credit to Trump for anything good that happened. And so it's like this guy has been the president of our country for 4 years and did absolutely nothing except turn our country worse. I don't blame. I will never blame Trump for everything.
I believe half of that.
I will never blame Trump for everything, and I'll never give credit to Trump for everything either. And nor will I do the same 4 years from now when and if the country is worse off or better off. And I don't know what it's going to be.
I mean, he didn't peel the layers of the onion back to reveal the stink of the nation. He ripped it right off. Can't blame that guy. You can't blame the guy who rips it off to show what stink of a nation we still can be in some cases, the far right versus the far left. Now, because of the things that Trump has done that people would can say that are awful, that's why people like AOC, Ilhan Omar, the Kamala Harris's, that's why they exist, and they're getting their soapbox to talk. They may, AOC and Ilhan Omar may have not even gotten elected if Trump wasn't so nasty about everything. Because for every yin there's a yang. Immediately he hired the guy from Breitbart, Bannon. He hired the other guy who's in the Pride Boys, flashing his white power sign all the time. So immediately he was seen as the alt-right. So now the alt-left are coming out, and they're getting elected, and that's scary too. And that's because of what the things that he's allowed to happen under his administration. For every yin, there's a yang. This happened, so this happened. As soon as the people got to vote again, they voted in Trump. 2 years later, as soon as they got to vote again, they voted in people like AOC and Ilhan Omar, and so you know where it's going. And it's because so we reacted, we were on the right, so now we reacted with the far left. Now, if Biden gets in 20 years ago, when Biden was a more moderate, more towards the middle Democrat, wouldn't have been so bad. We could have had, I vote for 4 years of nobody. Let's just chill. But if we have Biden for 20 years ago, Biden for 4 years with, a similar type of vice president, maybe we could heal a little bit.
Bridge some of the gap. Right now we can't bridge the gap with either one.
I don't know what kind of state Biden's in. I don't know what kind of power Harris might have, but you go through and you start talking about now defund the police is in the White House. Defund the police, all these crazy far left ideas are in the White House, just like these crazy far right ideas are now in the White House.
I was really hoping our scheduled guest tonight, because he had some strong or had some thoughts about the vice president nominee for the Democrat side. And interestingly enough, I've heard not everybody that is perceived to be a Kamala Harris supporter is actually a Kamala Harris supporter. They're not. A lot of people don't love that idea of her being the vice president, even if they're Democrats. And I don't understand why. I was hoping to understand why. Do you understand why?
No, I think it has something to do with her record as a lawyer.
Didn't she claim to be a Native American a few years ago?
Is it Native American or Indian American?
Indian American.
Which I have no idea.
But is she now claiming to be black?
No, I think she isn't claiming to be anything. I think the narrative for the left-handed side of the mainstream media, black is cool now to be. So we're going to say she's the first African-American vice president ticket. And maybe she's an Indian American too. Maybe she's a bunch of other things. But, that's what they want to call it, because that's what they're feeding into. So in other words, the type of narrative.
They're spinning to whatever their agenda they feel like their agenda is. They're going to spin the information to make people believe through social media that they want people to believe what they want them to believe, not what may be the truth, not what may be accurate.
Well, it's not true, but it's pushing the side that you want them to see.
Right. Which is, again, we go back 20 years, and I'll stand by this forever. The social media is the problem.
It's a cesspool.
It's the problem, because you can't. Too many people can't form their own opinions based on facts, because nobody knows what the facts are anymore. What are the facts about COVID? I mean, COVID-19. What are the facts? I see posts daily, 10 times a day, with people arguing both sides of how many people have died because of coronavirus. Right. And how are there people die? People died. People die all day, every day, and have for as long as we've been alive, right? Mm-hmm. Right? No matter what the reason, people are still dying. Some people are saying that they're exponentially more because of coronavirus, and some people are saying, no, that's not true. People are dying every day from cancer, from car accidents, and they're being attributed to coronavirus. I don't know what's true. I don't know who.
That's what they say. I mean,
so if you and most of the time, it's the far right that is saying one, and the far left
exactly.
the other. So again? I go back to it. There's a big class, a big chunk of people in the middle, don't have any idea what to believe, because we're not getting real information.
Well, the information you try to believe what the science and the medicine says, but even that becomes political, and the thing is we don't know much about the disease still. Did we overreact and shut the country down too far, too fast, too long? Could be.
I don't know.
Very well could be. We don't really know. I mean, there's a story that came out in the Manchester Union Leader that all these businesses that are permanently closed because of COVID, because they couldn't open back up.
Yeah.
So we really don't know what the numbers are. But, one side says, when somebody writes something, North Carolina screwed up and their COVID numbers are wrong by 200,000. See, told you, it's a hoax. It's like, okay, fine. But what about the 10 articles written a month ago about Florida not reporting deaths? And only 12 states in the United States are required for long-term health facilities to report deaths to the CDC. Only 12 states require that. Now, most of the states are doing it anyway, but we don't know what those numbers really are. How many people died in their house? And just, and you don't do an autopsy. People don't get autopsy unless you're rich or someone killed you. There's no autopsy. You died, you died. Put them in a box, throw them in the ground. That's how it works.
And I think that's what's happening. A lot of these deaths are being attributed to COVID-19 for an agenda, for a reason. And again,
is the CDC in on it? I'm not buying that.
I don't know. I don't know who's in on it. I don't know who, and I don't know
who
why.
reports it.
But I can tell you,
by the time it gets reported to the CDC, that gray area, I'll go there. I'll agree to talk about that's a shady area. But for the numbers are what they are, and they get reported to the CDC. That in that area, sure, that could be a little. There could be some. What do they call it in the mob?
Well, wasn't there
the juice in the numbers?
Forgive me for not being completely up to speed on this, but didn't our current president decide to stop sending funding to the CDC?
Was it funding or I think he said that.
So would that make the CDC more?
But that just started.
But would that make them more interested in skewing numbers to help one side versus the other?
These are doctors with oaths. So, as humans, sure.
Yeah.
But these are doctors with oaths.
Funded by?
Huh?
Funded by who?
What's funded by what?
Funded by who?
The government?
The doctors are funded by who?
Well, they're funded by insurance companies.
Okay, right. So somewhere along the line, there's money being involved. And insurance companies are probably the worst of all of them.
Oh, God.
I mean...
These companies are just below real estate agents.
No, that's not the same thing at all. No, you might put them below attorneys or banks or something, but anyway, that's a whole other show too. But the bottom line is, the numbers that are being reported are being influenced by wherever the money starts and where it ends. Because
follow the money. You can always say follow the money because you're always going to be right.
Yeah. And I don't, who knows? I don't know what the agendas are. I'm certainly not privy to any of that.
I've seen people on Facebook argue like, someone gets COVID, they're dying, their heart stops, and they say, that's not a COVID death. He died because his heart stopped.
Well,
I've seen people trying to.
But I've also seen it the other way, as well. The other way is, all right, so
I tested positive. I got my positive test. I went outside, got hit by a car. I died of COVID.
And I wouldn't have tested otherwise if it wasn't a thing, right? I mean, so those things are happening, and so it's frustrating. So I don't know. What I'd like to hear from you, Rob, is how do we get through? How do we muddle through it and come up with actual information, real live? Because you're famous for saying on this show, either before the shows or during the shows, that there is no media outlet out there really that's reporting news. All the media outlets right now that most people follow, whether it's Fox or whether it's MSNBC or whether it's CNN, those are entertainment shows, not news shows anymore.
Yeah, they're opinion shows. No one, you really, if you have, everybody's cutting the cord, cable, not getting cable anymore. I'm against that. LCTV is funded by cable and Comcast. We love you. Please, if you cut the cable, come back to us. Come back. Anyway, if you have cut the cable and you have YouTube TV and one of those things, you'll probably come across a couple of news channels called Newsy or Cheddar News. I have seen Newsy being pretty bland, but just reporting news, not a lot of opinion. It's just Newsy, news with a Y. You can check that out to make your own opinion about that. Other than that, on television, I mean, you really, the television is a television show, you know, right? It's show business. You have to get ratings. You have to get asses in the seats. You have to have ratings so you can charge a premium on your marketing and your ad revenue. If you don't have that, you can't have your show. So the show now has to, you know, point itself to the demographic that's going to spend money. You know, the 35 to 55-year-old white male. Sorry, that's the demographic that television aims for, because that's what they have decided that's the demographic that spends the most money on cars and Gillette razors and Geico and everything, whatever you can think of. So those shows have turned into just opinion. I read Reuters. You could read AP. I read Reuters. But yeah, it's tough to find. You always have to fact check everything, because now there's a string of television stations across the nation that have been purchased by a group called Sinclair Television, who is alt-right. So, and if you see, they have an agenda. So even it's on the local level, which is sad, because I think the local level is still, support your local news. Support Channel 9, support Channel 5, support me at Channel 7. We're independent. We're not affiliated with anybody. So support your local news, because believe me, when I go to work, we don't have a meeting and sit around and say, how can we screw Donald Trump today? Or how can we make Joe Biden look super cool? We don't have those meetings.
But they do it.
Barely,
but they do it the
barely
network,
get the news on TV as it is. It's a pull your hair out of your head kind of business. Don't go into it if you're a kid. You know, it's dying and it'll drive you freaking nuts. I'm only 50 and I've been gray since I was 25, because I've been in the news business, and I have daughters. 2 reasons. So you can't get, even when you're like your Twitter feed and it says something and it has a source, you have to fact check everything. Even if your source is like something you've heard of.
Right.
Like, I kind of want to see it now from another source before.
Right.
You don't know, because other countries are effing with us with our social media and the information they put out there, and we invented it. So it's not like, you know, messing with elections, messing with the disinformation campaigns. We invented that shit. So it's not like, you know, with the other countries doing it to us now, because they've just caught up to it. So misinformation, it's hard to find out which is which.
Yeah. I don't, I agree with you 100%. Hey, we're into this for like 40 something minutes, and this could go on. This conversation, and I'm enjoying it. We could go on for hours, I think, because we haven't even talked on sports yet, and that's what we were thinking about doing. But I think we need to end this show for tonight. We can definitely do another one, because you know, it's fun to talk with you. And
yeah, I think we should definitely talk about COVID affecting sports, because we know sports more than anything. Yeah, we feel more comfortable talking about those sorts of things.
Yeah, I mean, but not tonight though.
But I think we'll have to come back next Saturday. And,
So
whoop that out.
episode 3 is in the books, I guess.
In the books, in the
books,
can, as they
episode
say.
3. And I think we're getting better every time. Our guest stars, our guests, our host is consistent. Our guests are changing every time. We even changed during the episode, in fact, for tonight. So we keep getting better, and I appreciate anybody who's watching. I don't even know if anybody is watching, but I hope you are, and I hope there's some entertainment
Feel free to
value.
comment on YouTube. We've enabled comments.
Oh, good.
We don't have thin skin. So
Okay.
you can comment on YouTube. It'll be on the Facebook page, Litchfield Community Television Facebook page. I will allow comments there, I think. I don't want the town Facebook page for LCTV to turn into a cesspool of back and forth with people getting mad at each other. So best case scenario is to copy it, put it on one of the local pages, what's up, what's not up, just to get true dialogue out of it. And I kind of want to keep, I am a town employee. I kind of wanted to keep the town sites
Well, if you are
clear of that sort of thing.
going to put this on the What's Up page or whatever in town,
I'm not.
then you should put it on you should put all 3 episodes on the other
I didn't
pages.
put the other 2 yet.
I don't know. I've never noticed them.
Hmm.
That's okay.
Thought I did.
I guess
Might
we're
not
out
have.
for tonight because I have to go eat dinner, and you're welcome. You want to come have dinner?
I don't know. I might be bowling by myself. I have to check to see who's at my house.
Or you can have Sherry meet us if you like, if she's
Oh,
home.
they're at a party.
Oh, at a party.
They're at a cookout.
All right. Well, I'm meeting my wife and
Where are you going?
Northside Grill.
It's a good place.
Yep.
Get the poutine.
Putin. Oh, I want to add that not that anybody will get to this point in the show, or we may have been cut by now anyway. But the home team,
Look at
the
that.
home team, which is my real estate company or business or whatever, working through Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Varani Realty. We did something pretty cool, I thought, with
Warren Buffett.
with the Northside Grill. We donated $10 in gift cards to every Campbell High School graduate and mailed them out on the weekend of graduation through the high school. The high school actually took them all and stuffed the envelopes and sent them out to all the graduates. And talking with Roger over at Northside Grill, he's
Cool.
not sure how many people have actually used them. He's got a couple of comments from a couple of people saying that they're using them, they appreciated getting them. But if you have received them, and you do happen to see this, or you have a kid that graduated and received this, we'd love to know that they were received and that they are being used, because we really appreciated what the seniors at Campbell High School did endure this year, just like seniors in any other high school or college, and we appreciate them, and we wish them the best as they move forward.
Good luck.
All right,
Class of 2020. Never forget that year
that's for sure.
because it sucks.
Oh, hats off.
Bye.
Show's over.